Hola, and welcome to Vive Nutrition Radio, the first ever Spanglish podcast where you will hear interviews with the top minds in nutrition, performance, fitness, and health in both English and Spanish. Here is your host, expert registered dietitian, Andres Ayesta, on a mission to help you take your nutrition to the next level. Hope you're ready for this. Let's dive right in.
What is going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to another episode of Vive Nutrition Radio. It's so nice to see your beautiful smiling faces, or hear them anyways, on today's episode. I don't have a guest today, and Antonio is not with me either. This means I'm going to talk about some deep stuff. So hopefully you're ready for this. If you don't know me, guys, and this is the first time listening to this podcast. My name is Andres Ayesta, registered dietitian, nutrition coach. You probably heard it on the intro, and I have been trying to provide massive value to my audience, to you guys, in English and Espanol, in a way to help you not only conquer your nutrition, but also conquer every single area and aspect that directly or indirectly affects it. So here's some interesting things that I try to coach, or that I try to teach all my coaching clients, is the fact that I don't really necessarily coach only their nutrition, but it's more of like every other area, such as mindset, stress, sleeping habits, training, all those pieces, if you think about it, of a puzzle, that all come together to really optimize your health, your fitness, in all possible ways. So I try to focus on all those things because, and the reason for this episode today is to talk to you guys about my own transformation and some of the things that I have learned in the past 5 years that not only completely changed my mindset, but also my nutrition, my health, my physical aspect, my performance in the gym, and most importantly, also my business, which actually allowed me to get to a point where I was able to leave my full-time job and dedicate myself fully to really working with people like you in their quest to optimize what I like to call life performance. In fact, the motto for Vive Nutrition, which is, my company, is to eat to live to perform, because I believe that nutrition is the root for every single thing or the way that we perform on a daily basis, as far as how we carry ourselves on, in every endeavor. So today I wanted to talk about this, actually understanding where I started from, like really what was my life like a few years ago. So in 2014, I moved from the city of Bradenton. I used to work in this place called IMG Academy, and things were great. I mean, I was building my career and not making a ton of money. And I come from a family that I've always had everything. Not necessarily, we were not rich, but we've been comfortable. But we've been through stages of our life that it's been difficult. In fact, we actually went through a very rough period when I was, I think, between 10 years old and 14 years old, when we pretty much lost everything in order for us to kind of make a huge change and a huge move in our life. And that really got me to a point where I was surrounded. One of the things I give to my mom and dad is like they gave me everything. Like they always did everything above and beyond, and also my aunt, my tia, because they were always able to provide everything that I needed. So it never felt like we were lacking something. But at the same token, I was always surrounded by my friends and families that had a ton. And for me, that developed what I like to call a scarcity mindset. Like money became something that was like precious, and whenever we had it, we were supposed to really hold on to it because it was going to go away. So that actually affected many areas of my life, but believe it or not, without me realizing it, because of the fact that I was always in that scarce type of mindset where everything was just limited, and in a way, like I felt like I didn't deserve some of the things and I've always had big dreams and goals, but it really didn't seem like I deserved some of those different things. So I was actually building my career. All I wanted to do was be able to build become a millionaire and have like this super massive successful business. But in the back of my head, I was thinking like that's impossible. When I would look at all this super famous or very successful entrepreneurs, I would say to myself, like, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I have what it takes to accomplish that. I think these people are just superhumans. And it's crazy how years came by, and I have completely switched my perspective on this. I've been through a lot of ups and downs. I've been through a stage where, I was not comfortable in my own body. I didn't really like the way I looked. And it's not like I've had like, obesity problems or issues with like my weight, but I remember times where I would literally walk by a mirror, and I've been like the skinny type of guy. I've never been like, I was like the third, when you actually like, I went to a Catholic school. So, I literally would line up on, they would make us line up before we actually go to class. And I was like the third out of like, 30, something kids. So I've always been small, short, not very well developed. And that inside of me, like from like my body image perspective, was something that just kind of bothered me a little bit, and I really wanted to change that. I just never really put in the work to be able to accomplish it. I was always an athlete, played soccer, played all these different things. So in all, what I'm trying to say is I had different areas of my life where I felt like I was not good enough or I didn't have enough, but I also was thinking that I was not going to be able to accomplish more than what I already was, even though I was really working hard for it. And I had this huge, massive vision and dreams of building something huge. In fact, I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to provide quality of life to people. But at the same time, I heard that obviously being a doctor was very well remunerated and you had a lot of money doing it. So there was a money component to it. So anyways, fast forward a few years now, in 2014, I found myself once again, very broke. Not necessarily broke, but I had enough. But I was buying, I was trying to spend like $30 to $40 a week on the groceries, not more than that, and just living that, that super, like the ramen noodle life, as I was studying nutrition. So it was obviously very, very difficult at times, and I remember I would cry, and I'm being super vulnerable here, but I believe that I just had to be open about this. I would cry like almost like every week because I felt lonely. I feel like I didn't have enough, and I would see all this, sometimes like when I moved to Orlando, all this my new friends were started to invite me to places, and I would just try to look my account to see ways that I could make it work. And it was difficult. It was not easy, or try to buy certain things that I really wanted to get. I'm thankful enough that I was able to kind of get through school, not necessarily get in too much debt, and my family was always there to support me. But I started this company really, and for 3 years, nothing truly happened because I was too afraid to invest in myself. I was really afraid of spending too much money. I was really afraid of really like betting on myself in many different areas. And the reason why I'm talking about money first is because that was the route for me to change every single thing. Everything else in my life. And it's not until I started investing in things that were actually outside of my comfort zone when I realized like the more I invested on me, the more I actually got back. The more I gave, the more I got. So if that makes sense. So I wanted to kind of walk you guys through really those like specific areas of that I felt like completely transformed my life, my mindset, and my health to become where I am today, which is far from perfect, is far from where I wanted to be, but I'm to a point where I'm very comfortable. Not comfortable. I don't like to feel comfortable. I like to feel actually that I need to be challenged every single day in order for me to kind of progress. But I do want to make sure that I'm a person that is today super grateful for what I have. Not as much as I want to, but then still waking up every morning and extremely grateful and full of gratitude because of the kinds of things that I have been able to build for me and my family, and you know, for my fiance and for the people that I help throughout this process. So as this 4 years have come by, you know, since I started Viva Nutrition, it's been a completely it's like a huge transformation, but really it all started with that scarcity and not really wanting to bet on myself in this process. And I was expecting things to be given to me, and it was not that easy. In fact, I remember when my friends from the CrossFit gym in Orlando told me, hey, like, we're going to open up a gym where you're going to have access to 50 members. I was just starting this company, and I said, wow, that's sweet. That's 50 easy, you know, new clients I'm going to get. And again, that mindset that everything was supposed to be given to me because, well, I am a dietitian. I worked so hard. I went to school for like, you know, fucking 6 years. And I was at that point where, yeah, sure, like that was supposed to be given to me, but then really life hit me and I realized, like, you know, you had to sell yourself and you had to develop trust and all the different things I'm not going to get too much into today. So without further ado, here are the things that I did. But anyways, I have already talked about a few of them accordingly. When I think about a couple of years ago, the first number one step that I took and that you should take as far as, you know, really creating a transformative journey for yourself, it's understanding your why and the why of your business or the why of whatever you're working at. Because when you know your why, then you know exactly what fires you up and gets you up in the morning to go and get it. That is the most, like the biggest thing that changed my life. And it's not very easy to come up with that. A lot of times you're going to come up with the what and you're going to come up with the hows, but you'll never come up with the why as easily. What do I mean by that? What is your why? If somebody asks you, you can easily say, well, because I want to have a lot of money. That is the what. That is what you want to accomplish, not why you want to accomplish it. Well, because I want to have money, because I want to travel the world. Why is that? Why do you want to travel the world? What is that going to give you? Well, because it's going to make me happy. And why is that going to make you happy? Why is traveling going to make you happy? Why is not maybe like, you know, spending time with your family going to make you happy? So as you dive deeper into every single one of those layers, like it's like an onion that you're peeling one layer by one, it's until you get to the very core of it that you identify really what is your purpose in here in this earth and what is the reason that you wake up every morning to go and really accomplish the things that you're set out to accomplish. When you really know that why, then that's the shit that fires you up and gets you going. For me, my why and identifying those things really kind of like got me to a point where I knew exactly what I wanted to do. My why is because I want the financial freedom to be able to provide for my family and also to be able to serve my purpose to help others through my career, to be able to have the financial freedom to move and go as I please and never to actually have lack or my family to miss anything that they need. Not to be rich, but just to be fulfilled. That for me was my huge, like the biggest like transfer, like it was a huge breakthrough for me. I even wrote it for myself because I really wanted to make sure that I understood that and I kind of grasped that fact and really put it inside of me so I understood exactly what got me up in the morning. Ever since I started to identify that and I started to live through that, then everything started to change. I started to wake up earlier. I would like literally get fired up and do the things that I needed to do. And a lot of times, obviously, not the right thing. Sometimes I would spend hours working on stuff that really didn't really lead to anything good or didn't really lead to anything as I was trying to build my business, for example. The same thing, for example, with my training and my exercise and my nutrition. So obviously that led to the second thing that really change everything for me, which is the second step for a transformative journey that you need to embrace, is changing your money mindset. What does that mean? You're like, what the hell, dude? What is your money mindset? Money mindset is the way that you see money. For some, money is scarce. It's always the way that I have been seeing money since I was little. If you have it, you have to save it. You have to be careful how you spend it, because money is going to go away. It's never going to come back. And the more you hoard, the more that you save, the more comfortable you're going to be. That was so fucking like untrue for me. And sorry I'm cussing, but I'm super passionate talking about this stuff, because it's not really what I was about. It's not really what money is about. And it's not until I started reading books about this stuff. For example, one of the books that I read that really changed the way that I see money was, her name is Jen Sincero, and she wrote a book called You're a Badass, I'm Making Money. And it changed my entire perspective of how I see money nowadays. I used to see it as a limited resource. And now for me, money, and this is something I have learned through her and through other different people that talk a lot about this, is money is energy. You know, it comes and goes. And when you're spending money, you're exchanging energy for a solution, whether it's like food, shelter, joy, happiness. It's a conductor to happiness. It's not necessarily to happiness, but it's a conductor of energy that is being used to serve a purpose. It's not meant to be possessed. It's meant to be transferred. And when I started to change that perspective, and I stopped to cling on too much to the money the way that I was doing it before, where, you know, I was too cheap to pay $5 parking. And everybody has different ways that they value money. For example, some people may spend $500 on a TV, but they won't spend $200 on a nutrition coaching program. Insert call to action there. But, you know, everybody see and value different things different ways. But it's how you see that money and how you react to it when it comes, you know, available and when it's lacking. So the moment that I started to change that, you know, from scarcity to what we call abundance, that money it's everywhere, and it's out there for you to grab it. But a lot of times we don't really see it that way. We're like, oh, it's not there to grab it. Shut up. Like you're talking nonsense. No, it is, if you really see it that way. You know, money is abundant. There's a ton of it. There's a reason why there are billionaires that can spend, you know, I'm watching this like show called Billions, that can spend $80 in a mansion, yet we can spend $20 or $200 or on a trainer or a nutrition coaching program or something that is going to be rewarding for yourself. So literally, I would think twice before spending a smaller amount of money, and I have spent upwards of $35,000 this year on myself, on my growth, not on buying stuff that are fancy or buying a car or buying material stuff, but in the kinds of experiences, whether it's traveling or business coaching or mindset coaching or nutrition coaching, to help me evolve and to help me become a better person. And ever since I started to do that, money started to come to me. And I cannot explain it, but I put it out. I put it out there, you know, and a lot of this stuff, if you're listening to this and you're like, this is the first time you hear about this like money mindset thing, you may start to think like, what, this guy is like freaking like cuckoo, the dude, like this guy is crazy. But it's not until you start to apply some of those principles that you start to see exactly how they evolve. Now, for me, I spend money whenever I need to obviously invest in something that is required. But for me, money stopped becoming something scarce. I'm still working on it. Don't get me wrong. There's still areas of my life that I'm still super, you know, like reserved about doing things. And one thing here is not to confuse like money mindset and abundance by being like an overspender and not careful and not being, and not financially plan things for your way. It's not the same thing as being reckless. There's a huge difference. Being abundant and being reckless are two huge different sides of the coin when it comes down to money. Being abundant is being able to see money as what it is. It's energy that you use to provide or to give you a solution. Being reckless is just spending money on things that may not provide those things to you. So that is like a big area for me that completely transformed the way that I spend, and that's exactly when I started investing on myself. So this is actually the time where me as a dietitian, I hire my own nutrition coach, which he is now my business coach, Tony Steffen, and it was the reason why I did it at first is like I need to see what other people are doing as far as like nutrition coaching. I want to see how they operate, and as I started to see the processes that they would follow, I was spending a lot more than I would charge to a client, and I didn't understand why until I got to observe the value that you would get from something like that. And I kid you not, everything else in my life started to change. And this is something associated to, as I'm talking about this, is something known as the Keystone Habit, which there's a book by Charles Duhigg that talks about the Keystone Habit, in which when you focus all your energies towards one area of your life and you do it purposely and deep into it, every single thing, every other area in your life is essentially going to start to improve. So for me, those 2 to 3 months of my life, I focused on being in the best shape of my life by the time that I turned 30. That's all I did. And I worked on my nutrition, on my fitness, and I got in the best shape of my life by the time that we went to Mexico to celebrate my birthday on August 24th of last year. So that changed everything else for me. I spent money on myself for the first time, and I realized that was the switch and the pivot point in my life where everything else started to change. Within a year, I was able to quit my full-time job, and I was able to build a 6-figure business, and I was able to provide value to the people doing what I love and being grateful for every single thing that happened in my life. That is exactly the same thing that I expect from you guys as you're listening to this. Because whether you're trying to be an entrepreneur or not, creating this like mindset shifts and this understanding, this why as a step number 1 that I'm talking about, it changes your perspective of life. It goes from, being scarce and being miserable to being grateful for even the little things that you may have, whether you have a ton of money or not. Which leads to number 3, which is, this is the other part of like being on a constant state of gratitude and part of like what really led to this massive transformation, which was for me being on a state of massive self-awareness, knowing what my flaws were, and working on them one step at a time. Working on them ferociously. I don't even know how I said that word right. But really reflecting on those areas of my life that I was not great at. I was not great at business development. They didn't really teach me that stuff in school. So I decided to hire somebody that did, spending big money on that. That is like the areas that really helped me out. My nutrition, I'm a registered dietitian, and I was actually gaining fat and not feeling my best. I realized that I had no clue as far as like to what proper nutrition was like. In fact, you may be struggling with this. Like you're like, okay, you have like 3 a certain level of knowledge in your nutrition, even if you're a professional, because I know there are a lot of dietitians listening to my podcast. Even if you're a dietitian, but you're not comfortable in your own body, and you're just miserable from that perspective, then that stuff affects like the way that you're productive, the way that you carry yourself on a daily basis, whether you want to accept it or not. The key thing is for you to be able to accept it and to become self-aware of the problem, so you know what to change and develop a solution for that to change. So reflection on those different things is going to be massive. Becoming self-aware of your finances. Where is your money going to? Again, not being reckless, but being abundant. Where are your relationships at, and what do you need to work about? Where's your stress levels and your mindset? Is that something that is consuming you on a daily basis? And is that really the reason why you're making poor choices in your nutrition that is ultimately affecting your body image, which is all connected? Your health and your fitness. You say you're active, you say you work out, you say you eat healthy, but do you? Do you really? Do you ever stop to ask yourself the question, if you really do? I cannot count how many people come to me all the time and say, Andres, no, I don't really need help. I got this, I got this. But then you see them making all these like choices and you can see them being miserable, but then they're too proud to either ask for help or they have a massive lack of self-awareness because they don't understand exactly what they're standing. So my message to you here today as part of this podcast that goes a little bit deeper, not necessarily more into nutrition, but in self-development and improvement of yourself, is to really look at yourself from a little whole. Become self-aware of those areas. Understand how you see money in the perspective and when you're spending that money at. I have clients that have very little, but they understand the importance of it, and when they spend it, and when they're working with me in my coaching programs, they are aware of the investment that they're making, but how much is paying off for them because they're becoming better people. Money is energy, people, and that's something that you have to really grasp. And lastly, write out your why. Take this week as your homework for yourself. Like literally, if you're listening to this right now, I want you to really focus on your why and write this stuff out. So what's going to happen is you're going to start writing a lot of things that you want to do. Those are like the what, or the reasons why you want to do them, but then you're not really diving deep into that why. That's what you have to really get detail on. And once you find that statement, and once you internalize that, I promise you life is going to be a lot different when you wake up in the morning and you go to work, or you work on your business, or you work on your fitness, or whatever may be the case. Let's learn to optimize our health as humans and be gratitude and have massive gratitude, or be super grateful that we're able to breathe every single day, that we wake up every morning, and write that shit out, because it's powerful. Everybody's on their own journey. Everybody has their own race, and you cannot compare yourself to other people simply because somebody has more or less than you do. Somebody looks better or worse than you do. You only compare yourself to yourself, and that's another part that I didn't add in here. Let's just say that this is going to be a bonus. It's going to be to never compare yourself to other people. And the moment that I stopped doing that, because I used to do that a lot, and full disclosure, I would feel so jealous of people close to me that were so successful. And the more jealous I became, the more scars and the more anger inside of me actually grew. Be grateful for others. Be grateful for what they accomplish, because you are in your own race, my friends, and you just need to embrace that, be aware, and just live life, man, or gal. So that's my message to you guys today. So hopefully this resonated with you. If it did, this is what I would love for you to do. Share it on your social media. Take a screenshot of this podcast if you think this was powerful and valuable to you, and share it on your Instagram and tag me at Andres Ayesta, and also at Viva Nutrition, so I can see that this resonated with you. Send me a message and tell me, like, dude, I feel that in the heart. Or simply just leave a review and tell me, like, this episode was powerful. Because I don't really talk about this stuff much, because sometimes I feel uncomfortable talking about not necessarily my past, but the obstacles that I have faced in the past few years as I have been building my business, and as I've been building my life and my health and everything else. So that's my message to you guys today. Thank you so much for listening to Viva Nutrition Radio, guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Just a couple announcements. On this Friday, I'm actually traveling up to Costa Mesa to meet with 50 amazing rockstar dietitians, and we're going to have hopefully a nutrition coaches roundtable. So I'm going to bring my microphones, my podcast equipment, and we're going to have a great conversation talking about things that fires us up in the nutrition space. So hopefully you're ready to hear some of that, some of those insights, and it'll be probably a rather large podcast on next week's episode. So stay tuned, guys. Have an amazing rest of your week, and ciao, ciao. Buenas. Buenos días, ¿cómo están? O buenas tardes, dependiendo de la hora que estén escuchando este podcast. Bienvenidos a otro episodio de Viva Nutrition Radio. Les habla Andrés Ayesta. Por si no me conocen, soy nutricionista y dietista en la ciudad de Tampa, en Florida, en Estados Unidos. Tengo ya unos 10 años practicando casi como nutricionista aquí, y realmente me apasiona poder ayudar a personas como tú a transformar su vida y su nutrición y su salud de maneras y que no se imaginan, que puedan obviamente mantenerlos, y que sea un proceso que sea consistente, que puedan realmente llevar a cabo y que se convierta en un estilo de vida. El episodio de hoy es un poquito, vamos a decir que es profundo. Vamos a hablar de unos temas que son muy personales en lo que es mi trayectoria como nutricionista, y en muchas áreas que siento que han transformado muchísimo lo que es mi vida y realmente cómo me llevo, o las cosas que realmente han cambiado y que me han hecho desarrollarme no solamente como profesional, pero también como empresario y también como persona, como pareja y como humano. Porque realmente siento que hay muchas personas que piensan que la nutrición es la solución a todos los problemas, que si por ejemplo pierdo el peso voy a ser feliz, si pierdo la grasa voy a ser feliz, si gano músculo voy a ser feliz, y realmente a veces uno tiene que enfocarse en otras áreas que quizá afecten ese deseo que uno tiene para mejorarse, porque todo está conectado. Incluso cuando yo trabajo con muchos de mis clientes, yo siempre, cuando hago ese coaching nutricional que yo hago online, yo siempre tiendo a enfocarme en muchas cosas. Por ejemplo, si las personas que están escuchando que son clientes míos entenderán esto, pero todas las semanas yo les pido que a todos mis clientes que me reporten en cosas que no son relacionadas 100% de la nutrición. Por ejemplo, cómo dormiste, cómo estuvo tu sueño, cómo estaba tu estrés, cómo ha estado la mentalidad y cómo te has visto esta semana desde ese punto de vista, porque esas son cosas que tienen un impacto directo o indirecto en tu metabolismo y cómo tú te desarrolles. Entonces esas son cosas que a medida que ha pasado el tiempo yo me he dado cuenta que tienen mucho que ver realmente en cómo nosotros hacemos cambios nutricionales, y es algo que para mí representa una de las principales áreas que uno tiene que cambiar antes de cualquier cosa dentro del punto de vista nutricional. Cambiar tu cuerpo y tu estado físico te puede dar autoestima, te puede dar una vista más positiva dentro de ti, realmente cómo te veas, pero al mismo tiempo no siempre cambia la mentalidad que tengas entre ciertas cosas, y al fin y al cabo eso es lo que quizá te haga llevarte a hábitos viejos que quizá no sean los mejores, que te vuelvan a llevar a un punto en donde no te sientas cómodo contigo mismo. Y bueno, les cuento un poco sobre realmente mi trayectoria, porque es que no es como que para hablar de mí, pero quiero ser un poquito vulnerable hoy y contarles ciertas partes de mi vida en donde yo a veces siento que pasé por partes que fueron difíciles. Yo crecí nosotros lo teníamos todo. Yo crecí en una casa con lancha, con botes, con carros, Mercedes y todo. Y yo amo a mis padres porque me lo dieron todo hasta el día de hoy. Pero hubo un momento en nuestras vidas en donde nosotros perdimos todo. Y ellos nunca dejaron de darme lo que yo necesitaba. Pero sí tuvimos una parte de nuestras vidas donde nos faltó muchas cosas. Y eso fue bastante difícil para nosotros porque eso cambió mucho la perspectiva que yo vi. Y bueno, en verdad yo soy muy agradecido por eso que nos haya pasado en algún momento de nuestras vidas, porque me enseñó muchas cosas y me hizo cambiar la perspectiva, algunas positivas y algunas cosas negativas, en cuanto a cómo yo empecé a desenvolverme viviendo yo, de manera independiente después que me gradué. Y son una de las cosas que realmente siento que han cambiado mucho mi vida. El episodio de hoy realmente quiero explicarles y hablarles un poco sobre cuáles son esos pasos que yo he dado desde ese momento hasta el día de hoy para realmente transformar mi vida, no solamente desde el punto de vista financiero y de mi negocio, pero al mismo tiempo como persona, como ser humano, mi salud, mi nutrición, mi forma física, como estoy en estos momentos, porque realmente